What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk. No sugar added, but I am here on Winject Studios, and I love Winject. I always tell you guys to get onto my free community. Get on there now because I'm about to launch it. I'm about to really get into doing all of the nitty gritties when it comes to Winject because they have so many great things going on. And I think some of you know, I think I might have mentioned it, but I'm going into some surgery. Got to get my rotator cuff done and all these tendons fixed and all of that. So I'm going to be at home for like 6 weeks. I don't know how I'm going to handle all of that, but I'll be giving time to dive into self reflection, self work, belief systems, things like that, and also to really handle and talk to my clients. So thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. I am really grateful for you. Good morning. Good morning, Dominique. Happy Monday to you too. It is a good day to be alive, isn't it? Mondays are fantastic. I love Mondays. It shows you that you actually are starting the week off. You have a new opportunity, a new day. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. Some people's like, oh, I can't wait. Thank God it's Friday. But I love Mondays. Mondays are my day. But I wanted to thank you guys for all of the support that you guys have been pouring in and showing me. And I want to thank all of my clients too for doing the work and getting through all of the obstacles in their life and really starting to see changes happen. And I'm really grateful. I'm grateful that I get to do this kind of work. And so I was, thinking about what I wanted to talk about this week because I've been doing this whole methodology that I have created around all of the obstacles I've gone through in my life and what I've overcome, and also some tools and techniques that I've learned in my life to implement to help other people. So going from my NLP master practitioner and my life coaching certification and positive intelligence certification and emotional or EQ. Stuff and CBT and all of that great stuff. And why did I even do all of that? I did it because I need to change. And the only way I can help change others is if I go deep and do the work and change myself. Good morning, my love. Good morning. I'm so glad you're here. I love you so much. And I am really happy that I get to do this, right? To get to pour into other people and that I get to be here and be vulnerable and be truthful and be exposed and just showing who I really am because most of my life, I'm a high achiever. So most of my life was just doing what I got to do, being the chameleon I had to be to make it to the next level. And it's worked for me. But what hasn't worked for me is me realizing that I'm worth it, me realizing how strong I am and how good I am and how smart I am. And those were the struggles that I went through in my life. And I realized that there's a lot of negative self-talk that I still catch myself doing. And I have to be more vigilant about that. I have to really keep an eye on my self-talk. And I wanted to kind of come on here and just talk to you about that. My self-talk, your self-talk, right? The way we speak to ourselves and we don't even realize because we don't stop and pause, right? And so really quick, I just want to tell you that these are the kind of topics and conversations that I want to have on my community at Winject. And I really do want to start building that out, but I can't do that without you because you are my community. So I really need you to register to winject.com/groups/Neena Perez, and that'll take you right onto my landing page where you can go ahead and register for my group because I really want to start doing some lives in there, some back of the house stuff, like, things that I don't want to share with the public, but I do want to share with the group. So please get back there so that we can hang out together. Okay. Now, talking about the way we speak about ourselves, I one of the things that I wasn't doing for a long time is acknowledging it. I wasn't acknowledging that I had all this ugly inner talk. And it wasn't until I paused and realized how I spoke to myself. Oh my God, Neena, you're so stupid. Why did you do that? Oh my God, that was so dumb. Why did you? And and also, like, when people were giving me promotions or for me to climb up the ladder, can I do this? Can I do this work? Can I do this work? I'm really grateful for my family because they're always like, oh my God, mom, are you crazy? Or, oh my God, sweetheart, what are you kidding me? You could do anything. And it's so good to hear. But when you are struggling with that, I do it anyway because I like doing things afraid. But one of the things I didn't realize is how negative I was in my own self-talk to myself. Oh, forget it then. I can't do it. Forget it. Forget it. You know, how to failed business. Oh, forget it. I'm not a good business person. And I realized that, you know what, at some point that has to change. And the only way to change the way you talk to yourself, if it's negative and it's impacting you, because a lot of times you have to pay attention in order to realize that you are speaking to yourself that way, is acknowledge it. Acknowledge that your negative inner talk is going to be where you need to start. Because if you don't acknowledge it, you're not going to know. You're not going to know, because a lot of the things you say to yourself, you wouldn't say to your best friend or your loved one. You wouldn't. Right. And so they'll never know that that's the way you feel inside. That negative inner talk starts to affect you in so many different ways, right? From feeling overwhelmed and burned out and increasing your self shame and guilt and unforgiveness. And it's important to recognize that all of these negative things is not a representative of who you are. It just doesn't serve you well to speak to yourself that way. And a lot of those things are false. They're false narratives that were given to you, maybe from tragedies and traumas in your life. And as children, we try to kind of like make sense of the ridiculousness that's going on, right? When your parents said, no, you don't deserve that. And all of a sudden you automatically take that as, I'm not good enough. I'm a bad person. I don't deserve it, right? Because when you're little, you don't realize that your parent maybe is just going through something, or that, you know, the adult in your life is maybe just struggling with finances or struggling with something. And they just said to you, no, you don't deserve it, because they don't know how to tell you, no, I don't have it. I don't have the money. Right. And so that starts to really affect the way you think about yourself. And you don't even realize these little tiny, I call them foxes, that come and eat, you know, eat at your dreams and eat at your inner self, right? And so the key is to acknowledge your negative inner talk and start to be aware of that talk that's inside of you, because you are engaging with you every day. Every day you're engaging with you. And if you're not acknowledging that you're talking to yourself in this way, and pay attention to the words that are coming into your head, into your mind, and that you are actually empowering, right, in your life, because you don't realize it, you know, you have to start paying attention and acknowledge that that's happening, because words can be empowering or disempowering. Right? Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And once you have become aware of all this negative talk and this stuff going on inside your head, and consider that you are speaking to yourself in a way that is not serving you, right? Then you need to really take this language and you need to reframe. You need to reframe. What is that, hon? This is one of those, I got to sit down and watch it again. Maybe. The power of words, right? The power of words is real, Dominique. And we can actually lift up or tear someone down, but we do it to ourselves too. And that's the thing, right? Like we watch how we speak to someone else because we don't want to tear them down, right? Some people like tearing people down. I don't, right? But we talk to people sometimes in a way to either lift them up or tear them down with thought. But yet we don't sit here and think of ourselves when we talk to ourselves that way. What's up with that? Right? For example, like I used to always say, oh my God, that's so stupid, Neena. That's so stupid. That's a stupid mistake. You're such a dumbass. Why'd you do that? Right? And I mean, what is that? Right? And that came, I could tell you, I could pinpoint it. It came from my first grade teacher when she looked at me one day and said, are you stupid? And I carried that with me for 40 years. Right? Because I wasn't stupid. I was a child that was bounced from grandmother to parent, parent to grandmother, parent to grandmother, mother to parent. And I was in first grade in three different sections of school, right? I started in one school, went to another school, went back to another school, went back to another school in first grade. I failed first grade. I flunked. Why? Hello? Right? But as a child, you don't see that. As a child, you're looking at it like, am I stupid? No, I told her I'm not stupid, but I always felt stupid. I always felt stupid because my teacher called me stupid. And that is just to show you the power of words, the power of how you can hurt someone and tear them down, but the power of how you can tear you down and not even realize it. Because what happens is you automatically will build a wall. And now you think you're stupid, right? So now a new opportunity comes by, or a new business venture, or a new something that you're supposed to create. And that inner voice that you're not paying attention to has already started to create these neural pathways that make you think that you are stupid. And because you think you're stupid, now you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you can't do it, you get imposter syndrome, and here we go, right? And it's something that you have to acknowledge that you're doing in order to start moving ahead. You have to, right? I mean, instead of saying I'm stupid, you messed up on a job, or you took too long to create something, or you're not getting the first parts of your business right, or the first parts of your relationship right, or whatever, that is okay. And it's okay for you to say, you know what, I actually am growing as a person here, because this experience is going to truly show me how to move forward, how to be better, how to grow, how to impact, how to make a change. Instead of saying, oh, I'm so stupid, or I can't, or forget it, I don't want to, because that's what we do, right? We do the fight or flight. You either sit there and you say, I'm going to do it anyway, or you sit there and say, forget it, I'm done. That's a fight or flight response. And you need to realize that you're doing that in order for you to change. And also know that everyone you've spoken to in your lifetime and beyond has made some pretty major F-ups, some pretty major mistakes. And so did you, and so will you, right? Because we are human. And that is a beautiful thing, is to take that thing that you have failed on, or messed up on, or didn't quite do the way you wanted to, didn't accomplish the goals the way you wanted to, and say, you know what? This taught me a good lesson. I am growing because of this experience. I am growing because this has happened to me. I wasn't always like that. I mean, at the age of 5, I was subjected to, physical and sexual abuse from my stepfather, right? I was abused. So despite that darkness in my life and all that stuff that happened to me as a child, I still tried to find joy in my brothers when we went out, when we played together, in my grandma's house when I got to go over there. I still tried to find joy, because children, despite of some of the things that happen to them, are always hopeful until we snuff out the hope, right? So, I mean, at the age of 14, I found myself pregnant. At the age of 15, I saw myself becoming a mother with absolutely no good support, right? No, no help, but I did it anyway because my child was freaking worth it. He saved my life, right? I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I knew that I had somebody that I had to fight for, and that gave me the light that I needed. Right. My parents thought little of me. I mean, my father never even claimed me in I don't even have his name on my birth certificate. Right. I think my mom was going through a lot of stuff. So she was wavering back and forth and didn't really know what to do with herself. And these were the things that were written on my banner. I don't know if you ever saw my live when I talked about the banners that are written over our lives, that we wave in our life as our banners. And the banners that were written over me were, you're not going to amount to much. You're worthless. Look at you having kids so early. You're just another statistic, blah, blah, blah. Without any real education except for high school, you're not going to go to college. You're not going to do any of that. And you know what? I'm freaking here. I'm here. Okay. And I'm making some loud ass noises right now, because thankfully their messages that they wrote didn't stop me from being who I've become today. It motivated me, actually. It inspired me, and it was my springboard. It's what I'm telling you about, having those words in your life where you say, you know what, I'm going to learn from this experience, right? Their messages to me, or the things that have happened to me in my life, is not my end all be all. It will not be my end all be all. And now I can actually start to create the things I want to create and impact the people I want to impact. And now I can reach the heights I want to reach, despite what society thinks, what Instagram thinks, what all my likes think. I don't care, right? So despite of all of that, success awaits me, and it awaits you. And it doesn't matter of your past. It doesn't matter where you come from. What matters is that you face what you are saying to yourself. Because the way you speak to yourself, you probably wouldn't speak to half the people in your family or your loved ones. So stop talking to yourself that way. And despite facing all of these unimaginable adversities in your life, unimaginable adversities in your life and in my life, I'm determined to break that cycle. And I hope you are too. I hope you're determined to break that cycle of abuse to yourself, right? Because we're talking about my self-talk, abuse to yourself, abuse of the way you speak to yourself, the words, your hopelessness, all of that. When you go to a venture and you're like, you think you're not good enough, where does that come from? Talk to yourself. Ask yourself the question, right? Despite being labeled as someone who would never amount to anything, by all of those people that I loved and that were closest around me, I picked my ass up. I pursued my dreams. And I have an unshakable passion to reach as many people as possible. And against all odds, I'm going to do it. Sure enough, things did get better, will get better, and things will mess up, and then hard times will come, but my past will no longer define who I am, and no, the words that they had spoken over me will define who I am. No way. Instead, I had all of those words and all of those things that people said to me and that I say to myself, I shifted it, right? And so I now gave myself a way to stand up and move forward. It provided me strength. It made me successful. It actually makes every achievement that I make in my life sweeter because it is something that I had to overcome to get there. I am nobody's punk, let me tell you, right? And another way to acknowledge and address this negative talk is by challenging the statements that come at you in yourself. When you are saying to yourself, oh, I'm not good enough, I can't, or I didn't do it, or why didn't I do that, and blah, blah, and you have that talk that you are not acknowledging, right? But you are going to have to ask yourself for evidence of what you are saying. Is that real? Is it real? Ask yourself, where did this idea come from? Why do I even feel this way? I'm not good enough? Where is that from? What actual evidence do you have that supports that? Because I bet you that you won't find much of it, because most of it is made up in our heads. Most of it was from our experiences. Most of it is from somebody telling you that you are not good enough and you made it your reality, but it is not true. Okay, just because we've gotten hurt and injured or we've made mistakes does not mean you're not freaking good enough. So ask yourself the question, where'd you get this idea from? Where did you get the idea that you're not good enough? Where did you get the idea that you can't do it? Where did you get that idea? I know where I got mine, but I refuse to keep living in this way of less than all I am meant to be and do. I refuse. And it's hard, but I have to do the work. You have to do the work. It is called deep soul searching to master your game. It's about growth and awareness and your mind flow and energy. All of that comes together with your God, your creator, with God. And you start to say to yourself, where is this coming from? Is this good enough? Does God make junk? Okay, you need to start asking yourself some serious questions, because I'll bet you that a lot of what you're saying is from circumstances and situations that you probably had no control over, or that you haven't even forgiven others or yourself for, because shame will come in and start to try to destroy you and everything that you tried to do in your life by telling you that you're not good enough. But they are liars. Those things that judge you in your head is a liar. And by forcing yourself to look realistically at the fact behind the statement that you're talking to yourself, you will start to realize that there's something there that needs to be clarified, because it is not true. It is not true. And you need to realize those things so that you stop breaking those patterns and you can be better equipped for approaching towards dealing with them and also overcoming them, so you don't have to keep going through this in your mind, in your life, over and over again. Another thing I want you to do as you start going through this process, because I know it is a big process, is give yourself some freaking grace rather than criticism, because man, am I good at giving myself some criticism. Lord knows I am. Okay, but give yourself some grace and stay away from I should have done, I should. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Start making changes now and change who you are today, right? And the way you do that is by adopting a more gentler approach to yourself, about asking yourself those questions I told you about, and handling these difficult emotions is going to become easier every day. I promise you, if you start doing the work. Now, it doesn't matter who thinks that they can write our story. It's up to you about what you write today. What's your story today? What is your story today? What are you going to write today? What is it that you want to do today? Because you're not promised tomorrow, and yesterday's gone. So what is the story that you're writing today? Starting today, what is that? What is that? You have to define your power and your authority. You have to define that. You are the one that's in charge of your own destiny. The only one that can actually stamp yourself with approval. All right? Take a stand for yourself. Show up for yourself. Make today meaningful. Make today the day. Today is the day. Create your future by making sure that you speak over your life, that you have an unwavering banner that you now wave that's called success in my life, in my business, in my career, with my family. All right? And take those steps to really push yourself forward. I have been working on something pretty hefty and I love it. I'm going to share it with you really, really quick, just so you see it. This is what I've been working on in myself, but also in others, right? So this is inner healing. I deal with people now with toxic shame and their belief system, their emotions, and then reconnecting with themselves, which is what I'm talking to you about today. Right? And then we work into transcending. So we transcend unwanted behaviors. We define what your core beliefs really are. What's your values? We identify the gaps of where you are now to where you want to be. Then we design the life that you want. We start setting your goals for your business and your life. We do a lean plan. We do a game plan. We do marketing if that's what you need. And then we have a practice that we do every week. Why am I sharing that with you? Because this is the kind of stuff that takes you from where you are now to where you want to be. Because if you don't start dealing with those internal things and build yourself a solid foundation, what are you standing on but sand? Right? And even in the Bible, it says that the winds will blow. And if your house is built on sand, it will fall. It will fall, right? It's like the three little pigs, right? The three little pigs, the houses that weren't built solid, they fell. I want you to build a solid foundation. All right? And through all of this stuff that I'm talking to you about, you're going to understand what lies beneath all these ugly, unwanted patterns that you have. This awareness is going to bring up a lot of emotions, a lot of different type of energy. That's okay. But the criticism against yourself needs to stop. The way you talk to yourself in a negative tone where you are putting yourself down instead of lifting yourself up needs to stop. All right. So I want you to start today by changing that inner dialogue from within yourself. Criticism against yourself is not helping you. It doesn't serve you. In fact, it stops you from really actualizing into the person that you want to become. So achieving this greater goodness in your life, the greater happiness in your life, the overall long-term effects of positivities have to start today. You can't not start and hope that the future is better. You have to do the work today. Plant the seed today, and every day you water the seed to produce the fruit that you want in your life. Okay? How do you want to start? Why don't you start today by every time you start to think of something negative, pause. I want you to just pause and ask yourself, where is that coming from? Like, seriously ask yourself. But every morning when your ass gets off that bed, when you wake up in the morning, think of 3 things to be grateful for, because that's going to start to change your mindset of the things that maybe are better to focus on in your life than the negativity that we all have. Every one of us are beating ourselves up is easy. That's easy. It's actually loving yourself enough not to beat yourself up that's hard. Okay? So create a list of things that you are grateful for in your life and thank God for them and focus on these things, especially when you're feeling down and out and overwhelmed and negative thoughts come in. Please look at that list and say, but I am grateful for. Because we are all hitting some hard times right now. You know that. I know that, especially with the recession, the job market, the blah, blah, blah. That's fine. That's all good. It happens in the world. This happens all the time. It's cyclical, right? But I want you to change. I don't care about the world out there. I need your inner world to change. I need your inner place to change. So stop the negative talk immediately and talk to yourself as if you were talking to someone who means the world to you. Someone who needs support from you. Be kind to you. You deserve it. Especially if you're a person who's really out there trying to impact other people's lives, love on other people, and like really support others and support yourself. You deserve it. Okay. There are evil people out there, so they don't deserve. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, we're all great. It's not true. Some people are not. But I know the people that I speak to, my straight talkers, are always somebody who are pouring into someone else or wanting to learn how to pour into someone else. Well, now I want you to be a little bit selfish and pour into yourself. Your self-talk is super important. Let's get there. Let's do this today. Today, because tomorrow's not going to be here. We don't know if it is or isn't. So let's do it today. All right. I love you guys so much. I thank you all for hanging out with me. And I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. Be the straight talker that you are. Live the life that you want to live and know that you are worth it. So please be kind to yourself. Thank you guys so much for being here and hanging out with me. I truly appreciate you guys. And I will see you next week, right before my surgery. Have a good one.